AI agents are entering production with long-lived credentials. Caracal provide them scoped, policy-checked authority for their AI agents. This demonstration is to how to install Caracal and use Caracal for your product. Start with visiting the README where you can find a specific command for your OS. Just copy it and paste it in your terminal. For me, it's Linux command. It would just install the version which you want to install and it would set up basic binaries for it. As soon as it is complete, you can write Caracal up, which would spin up all the containers and install them, which are required for the runtime environment for Caracal. As soon as you complete that, you can just check the status of all the containers and then visit the documentation website where you can find the command to edit the env for Caracal, which is required for authentication of Caracal Web. You can either edit SMTP client for email or you can use the Google or GitHub clients for the login purpose. We are using BetterAuth for the login stuff. As soon as it is complete, you can then write Caracal allow list, which would help you to register your emails, which you would be using for signing on the web console. So I've just entered my email address, which would be registered and then spin up all the containers again so that it's restarted. Starting with Caracal Web, you can just sign in with the provider which you want, and then you can set up a profile which would be the administrator for the Caracal Web, who can perform actions based on the admin on the Caracal side. Zone is basically a trust boundary which you provide to isolate different split environments or different teams or products. So as soon as you create that, just start and click on finish setup. It will provide you an onboarding steps which you can follow the guide. We can start by creating applications. So applications can be of two types. It can be either managed application or DCR application. For the managed application, you can create it from the Caracal Web, and you can just you can just copy the secret which it provides. You can just either reveal it at any time you want. DCR can be only created or deleted via SDK. It is based for a particular dynamic client which you want to create for that application. Application can be either multiple agents or services which would be enforced under one policy set. Then you can visit provider page, which would offer you several different kinds of providers, OAuth, API, bearer token, MCP, or whatever you require. For my case, starting with an API for the Azure OpenAI, so I have just pasted the API keys, and you can also use the allowed upstream host, which will protect only those particular hosts in resources can be upstreamed authentication. These are basically Google, Stripe, or Microsoft, which you want to authenticate for the resources. Then you can open the resource page, which where you can write the particular scope and operations you want to perform. As you have added the API key, so I would be selecting the particular credential provider and then add the operations which I want to perform. You can also select any operations for the particularly some kind of providers which does not provide you operation URLs. So you can just enter the any operations in the enforcement part and you can just create resource. As soon as you create resource, you can go back to provider and in this way you can repeat the cycle for all the providers you want to use for your particular software. So next we are creating and GitHub engineering token, which would be a bearer token, and I would just create the particular token. And similarly, as we did earlier, we will be creating a resource which would be used for accessing the particular resource. Again, we can create a new provider, which would be auth, basically the Google Auth for this case. And as soon as you enter everything, you can just click on connect. It would check the connection and establish the connection between auth. You can see the connectivity from the sidebar, which you can open in this particular way. See the connection is verified, and for particularly the OAuth part, you can also generate a link, which is basically for the authorization code, which would be a web link to authenticate the user. Then you can similarly add the resource again, which would be Google Drive in this case, and any operation, just Google Drive read permissions we have given. As soon as you added the provider and resources, Now we are ready to start establishing the policies which particular application would be granted which access of the resource and on under which conditions. So we will be creating a binding which would be basically the ID, application ID, and what the variable we are using in the policies. Then you can provide the grants, approvals, you can set up the confinement and the freeze commands for it. As soon as it is complete, you can click on the start enforcement and you can create a policy set. Select all the policies and basically the versions which you want to provide and just activate the version. It would start all the policies which you created, and you can also simulate a particular policy for a particular policy set. In the policy, you can see the code of particular policy which you wrote via using OPA, which is the CNCF project, and you can even create new versions for it. Then, like you can start by integrating SDK in your code base. I've already integrated the SDK in my code base, so I would be just starting with the sessions and other part. So the sessions is basically to show active or historical access activities, including who or what connected, through which application, and under what governance context. Then you can see the subject, which would provide you the identities Caracal governs. It can be either the federated user or can be the service accounts, agents, or workload principals. Then you get the audit, which is an event trail that records what happened, who did it, and when it happened, and what decisions Caracal made on both activity and admin side. We also provide an approval system, which is a human approval system for the resources you specifically mentioned in the policy before any sensitive resource access is granted, either for the federated user or the admin operator side. Then we have the launcher service. The launcher service let the Caracal run command inject runtime bound scoped credentials into a runtime environment when an app does not use the SDK directly. We also provide a control API service, which lets your automation scripts and pipeline manage Caracal Web through API access. Then you can visit the manage zones section, which where you can create new zones as you required. You can either turn on or off the dynamic client applicants, which would be created via SDK. Then you can open the settings, which would show you the profile, security, either the login and what are the active sessions going on, preferences, which could be regarding the theme, audit retention, how much long the audit logs would be retained, or the mint rate limit for your particular application. You can open the AI operator page where you can add the LLM which you want to access for the AI operator, which I would be showcasing next. AI operator is basically the interface which you use to control or manage the complete Caracal web via natural language. It's governed itself by Caracal. You can visit the AI operator and you can click on Open System Zone, which would show you particularly a pink bordered screen, which is view only screen. It would show you how Caracal governs the AI operator and control API using Caracal itself. You can then also open the notification, which is basically the notifications on the admin side for the approvals page. The operational, you can open the status part, which would show the condition of all the stack which Caracal is using. You can also search any sub page by using Control K. You can easily search those stuff. On the part where you need to upgrade the version of Caracal, you can just download the particular version you want to run. You can download the binaries and then write Caracal upgrade. It would upgrade every stuff you require. It would upgrade all the migrations which would take place, and basically it would spin up the upgraded version without losing your data. There is also a command for Caracal run, which we described in the launcher service. It provides you a credential injected into your runtime environment so that you can use it without integrating any SDK in your software.